1 second. Okay, you can begin, Mr. Chair.
Okay, so welcome to the, I guess, bi-monthly, semi-monthly, I get them mixed up, meeting of the Village of Mamaroneck Board of Architectural Review on September 17th. It says here I'm supposed to tell you to notice the fire exits, so please look around your homes and see where the fire exits are. And
Yes, I was wondering.
okay, and during the meeting, if there's any other interested participants here who have questions or comments, and I neglect to ask for comments, please don't be shy about raising your hand and letting us know you'd like to participate. We certainly welcome participation. And I guess with that, we can get started. If I could get a roll call of the board members that are here, please.
Andrew Wolowitz here.
Cindy Lee,
Athena Makish.
Yvonne Levin.
And myself, William Binzer. So we have the full board here. So obviously have a quorum, and we can then proceed. The first item of business is then to approve the minutes from the last meeting. Has everyone had a chance to review those? Does anybody have any questions or comments on them?
No.
Okay, there being no questions or comments, could I have a motion, please, to approve them?
I motion.
And I second.
Any opposed? Okay, motion's approved. Okay, and then there being no old business, we can get right into the new business. And so the first item on the agenda is 443 Melbourne Avenue. And I think the applicant was on just a second ago.
Good evening. Hello, my name is Eric Jacobson. I trust you all can hear me.
Yes.
Okay. Well, it's a pleasure to be before your board this evening. I hope it's going to be a little less than the Harbor Coastal meeting, which went on till 11:45 last night. So I'm sure we'll get through this quickly. The property is 443 Melbourne. It's a single family home. It's a very modest home on this neighborhood. Currently, we are looking to add about 140 square feet on the first floor. So on the left side of the house, we're proposing to put in a 9-foot by 12-foot addition, single story, with a shed roof going up towards the house. That portion will not be readily visible from the front elevation. A little bit from the side, you could see it.
Oh, Mr. Jacobson, would you mind sharing your screen and, so the board members can see what you're referencing?
Yes, if you could let in my associate, his name is Joel Rodriguez. He would be able to share the exterior elevations. Okay, so there you see the proposed rear elevation. And at the rear, you can see the shed addition that we're planning. Over on the right side has the shed roof coming back. All the siding, of course, and roofing material will match the existing, as will the trim, the windows, the gutters. And that is meant for a study so that the occupants can work at home. On the other side of the house, this is again looking at the rear, you'll see that there is a single story bump out again with a shed roof, and that is for a little seating area as we're remodeling the kitchen. So Yoel, maybe you could show some additional elevations that we have. This is the proposed left side elevation. So our addition again is the area where the single story is with the roof, the window, and you'll see with the all the arrows that we're matching all the existing finishes. Okay, this is the right side elevation. This is a little bit more visible from the street. You'll see the seating area that pops out with the 3 mullion windows and the flower box. Again, just a single story addition to increase the very modest footprint of the home. So at this point, if the board members have any questions, I'd be happy to answer them.
Do any of you have questions? I have a couple if you don't.
I have a very quick question. What is it that they're talking about, a non-conforming structure? What, I mean, it says in the description of the project. What is it? I couldn't find any, but couldn't.
I'd be happy.
Yeah.
The zoning setback for the left side is required to be 6 feet. Currently, the home is at, it varies from 5.62 feet on the left side to 5.89 feet.
Oh, okay.
We're stepping our addition in about 2 inches so that we can maintain the 6-foot zoning
I see.
setback on the left side.
Gotcha. Okay.
And there's no other issues regarding zoning in
Yeah.
terms of coverage, FAR, and height, anything like that.
Oh, okay. Okay. All right.
And I have 2 questions. Well, they're questions mostly. I don't think they're more out of interest than anything else, I suppose. But could you, Yoel, is that your name? Switch to, say, the left side elevation for a second. Okay, now you see the top left corner of the addition roof there, where the label says new asphalt. Yeah, okay. And you
Yes.
see how that adjoins the rear. Well, now switch to the rear elevation. And you see that you have a kind of, there's an awkward kind of a corner there where these 2 sloping roofs kind of come together. I assume you have some elegant way of resolving that, and I'm not going to make an issue of
Yes.
it. It's not visible
So-
from the street, but it's kind of funky.
So we thought about that, and we felt that the best solution was to join at the same exact point. If we made it a little bit lower, a little bit higher, I think it would have looked awkward if we made it a different height. So the option there was to join them and make them at the same height, so that flashing line continues around from the rear to the side.
Okay, well, it's not visible from anywhere. I was just kind of pointing it out as a matter of interest.
Yes.
My other question is probably similar. Could you put on the first floor demo plan, do you have that?
Yes. After. Okay.
Okay. Now, if I'm reading this correctly, you're demolishing the whole section there on the back between the dining room and the wood deck?
All right, well, it's
Yes.
all interior alteration. So we are gutting that space. We're taking the flooring out, the interior plaster finish, in some places the ceiling, but we're keeping the exterior finishes in place with the exception of where the bump out for the kitchen is on the right side. We're removing 10 feet of wall there for our little seating area in the kitchen. And and then on the left side, we're keeping that wall. We're just removing the window in front of the seat, but we are removing that siding because we're going to turn that into an interior wall.
So you're keeping all the framing, you're just changing the finishes and all.
Yes, correct.
All right. Yeah, the way it was dotted, it looks like you were taking them out, which made me wonder what was holding up the second floor while you were doing that. But that makes sense. Okay, but those were my 2 questions. Anyone else? Okay, are there any other people in the audience, Will, that would like to comment?
Mr. Chair, there's no one in the audience.
Okay, there being no further questions from the board or from participants.
Well, no, just one quick question.
Oh.
The material. Okay. Just the material. I know everything matches existing. And then there was some material that, well, I don't have it here. I was on my other, I'm sorry. The asphalt shingles are going to match the existing. Hello, did I lose somebody or are you there?
No, I'm still here. Eric, the architect, is still here. Yes.
Oh, okay. Why am I not seeing the?
Oh, the plan went away. You want to see the exterior elevations?
No, I just don't see the zoom.
Oh,
I see Cindy. Okay.
Okay, I see you.
I don't know what happened. Oh, right there. Okay. I'm not familiar with this. So.
You may have it on speaker view where you only see whoever's speaking.
Maybe.
You need to be on the gallery.
Yes. Okay. So the other thing was the walls it's wood siding, correct?
Yes, cedar clapboard siding.
Okay. And that again, that will match the existing, right? There's nothing.
Yes, the
Yeah.
front of the house has a large exposure. It's about a 6-inch exposure to 7-inch exposure, but the back of the house has a 4.5-inch exposure cedar clapboards. We are tying into the back of the house because that's the majority of the area that we're tying into.
Okay.
It's just a smaller exposure, but it is wood cedar siding. Yes.
Okay. And then the other issue is that there's a real big tree that's going to be removed there, right? Because you don't have any room.
Yes,
To
that
do
tree
the
is going to
addition.
be removed. I have it labeled
Okay.
as
Yeah.
24-inch diameter. Mhm.
Oh, would it be replaced or?
We are currently not planning to replace it. If maybe Yoel could take a look at some of the photographs from the rear, looking at the house. If we could
I've
pull
seen
those
it.
up, you can see that it's quite a wooded area in that place, in that
Yeah.
area. Mhm.
Yeah, you have like two large trees, right? On
Yes.
the left of the property, looking at the main facade. Okay.
Correct. Mhm.
Okay. Gone again. It's driving me crazy. Okay. Yeah, no, those were the questions I had. Thank you.
Okay. Are there any other questions from the board?
No,
Andrew?
no, I'm good.
Nina? Okay. In that case, could I have a motion to approve?
Yeah, I motion.
I guess to vote. Okay, and seconded? Okay, any opposed? Okay,
I'm just curious, who is Mark Broneman?
Mark Broneman is the owner.
Okay, just because I
Yeah.
see an additional person on the screen there. Just wondering who else
Well,
is
he's tied
listening.
in just at the right time to hear his approvals.
he's lurking.
Yeah.
Okay.
I
No,
I'm sure
just,
he doesn't have an objection.
these days with Zoom, like everything is, we're just trying
guess
to
I
make
could
sure.
ask if he had any comments, maybe he
Who's
wants
in
to
the screen?
check or something. Okay. Okay, so that's approved then, and we can move on to the second item on the agenda, which is 1007 Oaks Lane, from which Yvonne Levine will be recusing herself.
Yes. Okay. Let me go call my husband. I'll be back.
All right, bye-bye.
hi.
Pablo. Pablo, you're on.
Sorry about that.
Is there someone, Will, is there somebody here coming on, or?
Yeah, her husband is going to make the presentation.
Good evening, guys.
Really?
Hello.
How you doing?
Oh, I met you when coming out of the restaurant that time.
Yes. So do I start sharing the screen?
Yes.
Please.
Okay. Well, what we are presenting today for approval is an extension of the existing deck. Do you see my screen right now?
Yes. Yes,
But it just shows a index kind of page,
it's a menu.
a menu.
Oh, so I need to start new share.
You
Okay.
probably need to click on something there. You go.
And this is the back of the house, the deck, the existing deck, and we are adding this piece. And we are adding also a fire pit. These are the sections, the wall sections, and this is basically the side drawing where you see the extension. It's a 10 by 20 ground level. I mean, it's at ground, and it's less than 12 inches above ground. I can show you some views that we did. Let me, 1 second. And this is the existing. Wait a second, new share. This is the existing, the backyard, and what we are proposing is wait a second. What we are proposing is basically extending. No, new share. You rotate. We are proposing the extension of that existing deck.
Okay.
And that's pretty much, we have another drawing showing some dimensions. Just to explain, this is less than 12 inches from the floor. And it's just the same deck that we already have, the same EPA system that we are going to use.
Okay.
I guess we just have more photos of the house, but basically that's the information that we have.
Is the fire pit a gas line or propane?
No, it's just with logs. We are not going to use gas.
Okay. Just for your own benefit, you should Google fire pit explodes.
Yeah, well, we have actually, we find a very good information about construction of fire pit on the web.
Yeah.
It shows step by step how to build it. And it's very simple. It's a concrete, it's just simple concrete, but they have a fire brick underneath, and it's kind of deep, so you can easily put some logs there.
Okay. All right. Well, do any board members have any questions or comments? Okay. And any participants, audience, whatever, have any questions or comments?
Actually, I have a question. I know it says less than 12 inches, but That 12 inches is a pretty big step up or step down near a pool. So I'm just curious, is it, what does that really mean, less than 12 inches? Does it mean like
Well,
it's 8 inches or what is it?
If you look at if you look at the one second, I'm looking for this annotate. If you look at the existing deck, it's the same step that we have here. You see, the step is probably 8 inches.
Oh,
So we continue the same height, no?
sure.
And then so it's probably around 8 inches, and then it goes up because the land, I mean, the side is sloping up.
I
So
see.
here is probably 2 inches.
I see.
It's very small.
I see.
Well, that's an interesting point that Andrew raises, because there is a code about that. I think if it's more than some amount, I forget if it's 8 or 10 or whatever, then that would be a code violation, and
you need a razor.
easily rectified. You'd have to just put in some fill, but the building inspector presumably would tell you to do that or put in a handrail or something. So
Right.
you probably do want to consider that.
Okay. I was just thinking of a big step down heading towards the pool, and that would, send someone lurching forward. So,
Yeah. No.
okay, but
No. Yeah.
got it.
Okay.
Yeah.
I walk by this house all the time. It doesn't, I thought it looked like this in the back.
Yeah. We
You
still.
know, I don't know this house, but I'm just curious, what is the siding material?
It's wood. It's wood, and it's actually very nice. It's an orangey color, but unfortunately, because of the weather, it's run down in the back. We already repainted everything, and we did a sanded, repainted, and spent a lot of money. And with the winter, it become again dirty.
Oh,
in the front is back.
Is it textured? I'm just curious.
No.
what's
It's not textured.
It's
I have more photos.
I know it's this photograph. It looks
It's
a little blotchy.
Yeah, it.
Well,
Just
I
regular
was just
siding.
curious. I mean, again, like I have no qualms about anything. I was just curious, just because.
If you walk past, the reason you're not familiar with the house, if you walk past it, there's like, I think, an iron railing fence and then a bunch of hedges, bushes.
Well, I
You
don't
can see
live
it,
in
but
that.
the front's very, small looking. I mean, it's not, doesn't, you
It's not
wouldn't
my-
guess that there's
It's not my neighborhood, so I don't walk by it.
well,
Yeah, you see here some other. You see the photos?
Yeah,
Yes,
yeah, that's
yes.
the back still.
Yeah.
yeah, and I can see the deck is actually lower to the ground. I mean,
Yeah.
it's the ground raises up a little bit there. Okay,
Yeah.
I mean, I'm done. I mean, I don't need to. you don't
Well,
need to-
actually, we have remember the barbecue pavilion to build that was approved by the same board, and we promised a barbecue to the board when we have it done. So you're going to be able to see it.
I think we stipulated that you had to have us all over. Of course, that was before
Probably.
COVID, so we might give you a
we're
buy.
not. We're
But
not.
we
gonna
haven't
talk-
forgotten.
We're not going to talk like this. We're not going to talk like this.
Okay. Okay.
All right.
Okay.
Are
So.
there any further comments from either the board or from any participants? Will, are there any participants?
No one, Mr. Chair.
Okay. All right. In that case, could I have a motion to vote, please?
I motion.
I second.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm not
Any
fast enough
opposed?
on this unmute.
Oh, well.
That's surprising coming from you, Athena.
All right. Well, are you opposed by any chance?
No, I think it looks real nice.
Okay. In that case, you're passed, and enjoy your fire
Right.
pit,
Okay.
and
And be
you can
careful
welcome
with that
your-
fire pit.
Yes, and I'll let you know when the barbecue pavilion is done.
all right. And I think you can welcome Yvonne back to the meeting.
Okay. Thank you, guys.
Okay.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
You can have the fire pit, but you can't have any exploding gender reveals. That's all.
No exploding fire pits. It's bad. That is a thing now, exploding fire pits. I don't know why.
I guess William is controlling this, right? The share, because
Yes. Yeah. The village planner, William, yeah, as opposed to me, William.
yes,
Yeah.
as opposed to-
Okay, so share my screen. 1 second, and we'll move into the administrative action.
Athena, when you step back like that, you become headless.
My special magic trick. I do it for my kids too.
Well, you should practice it for Halloween.
All right, so did everyone receive this? I sent this. I don't remember, a few weeks ago, I guess.
Yep.
Yes, yes.
Okay, so this is the beginning of sort of what I'm thinking, where we're going, that kind of a thing. So as you can see, this is the checklist, or a draft of the checklist. And are there any items that you think should be added? Do you think I captured everything? Based off the feedback that we had at the last meeting.
I had a number of questions, Will, if you'd bear with me, just kind of going through it line by line to make sure I understand it. First of all, the certificate of appropriateness application. Where does that stand? Because I know that you brought that up in the past, and the assistant village attorney said that that's only issued for historic preservation properties, of which there are 2.
Well,
so,
that's not, well,
requiring
what
that, I guess, would require an act of. Go ahead.
Oh, so essentially what happens is, at one point in the village, there was an historical board or something, commission or whatever it is, and they were issuing certificate of appropriateness. At the same time, Board of Architectural Review boards, when they issue a determination, essentially they are issuing a certificate of appropriateness. It just so happens that they're 2 different boards. They issue the same resolution, has the same title. That's all.
Okay.
So that's what that is.
Well, now, so the certificate of appropriateness would be issued then by the board. So it
That's
can't
correct.
be a required item for the application, yes? Or it's an application for a certificate of appropriateness, I see.
It's called, that is the title of it. So essentially where we're going with this is, boom, certificate of appropriateness application. That's what the
Okay,
application is.
And that's something that we can just do. You don't need to have further approvals from the trustees or anything.
Your board doesn't need approval from the Board of Trustees for the application process. Your board needs approval from the Board of Trustees as it relates to your rules and procedures. So
Okay.
all of this will be translated into the rules and procedures so that staff can begin to use and distribute the certificate of appropriateness application.
Okay, so that's a form then they have to fill out as part of the application.
Absolutely.
It's similar
Yes.
to the sign application. Now, does this apply does this apply to signs and everything, or just to buildings?
This applies to everything. So if you see application classification,
Okay.
again, this is in very draft form. I was just beginning to put it together, my thoughts or whatever, but at least you can kind of see where I'm going, and give me your feedback if you're feeling.
Okay,
So
well,
then,
I want to go through these just kind of quick, just to try to understand. I don't want to be here all night, nor does everyone else. The plan examiner report, that's required. So who is that? Who's the plan examiner in this case?
it's the building inspector. So it's really it's a report that's issued by the building inspector that indicates
so
what
this
boards
is-
are necessary.
So basically it's what we do now, except for now he's supposed to write it down.
Exactly.
Okay.
hmm
Then there's an environmental assessment form. And what exactly is that?
So the environmental assessment form, there are situations where New York State has a thing called SEQRA, the New York State Environmental Quality Review Act. And before any board can make a determination, they have to review it from a SEQRA assessment. There are certain items that New York State law says that it doesn't have any environmental detriment. So, for example, if somebody's building a single-family home, they don't need to go any further with SECRA from that standpoint. But then there's a list that says that automatically, if you're doing this particular item, it's going to have some environmental impacts. I'll give you an example. If someone was making a zoning code change, then that will require, they're typically type 1 actions. Then there are actions that don't fall on the type 1 list nor the type 2 list, which are unlisted. And at that point, the board, the approving body has to make the determination as to whether or not whether there's any environmental significance or not. And most of the time, when things come to your board, they fall in the category of what's called a type 2 action, meaning that no further environmental investigation is necessary. But there are times, most of the time, what happens in the village is most of those type of items that have environmental significance are also going to some other board, and typically that other board becomes the lead agency.
Mm-hmm.
So it's very rare that your board would be the lead agency, but it could happen.
Okay.
So that's
I
just in
understand
alignment
that.
with
Now,
New
what
York
are we
State law.
asking- I got it. Now, what are we asking the applicant to provide then?
The applicant would then be providing a copy of the EAF if it wasn't a type 2 action. If it was an unlisted action, they would be completing the environmental assessment form. So it would all go along with the application package.
Okay, so this is basically another form that we haven't seen that just where he or
Right, and I'll show that to you at your next board meeting
all
when
right.
we get into it. So that's easy enough.
All right,
this-
zoning and the next two I understand just fine, color photographs fine. Now you get certified and modified survey. What's that, before and after?
No. So sometimes what I've experienced is you have a survey, and then a modified survey is somebody, I suppose somebody was putting a fence on a particular piece of property. As opposed to them going out and getting a brand new survey, they may just hand draw on the survey and kind of show you where the proposed fence is located. That's what a modified survey
Okay.
is.
I see, okay. So that's if applicable, I guess.
Right.
Okay. Okay, then you've got, the next item is a site plan, plot plan. Then 2 doors down, there's a landscape plan. Could you tell me the difference between a site plan / plot plan and a landscape plan?
They could all be on the same plan, on the same drawing, but the difference is a plot plan shows you the layout of everything, what's proposed on a particular site as it relates to what's existing on this site, and the landscape plan may show you the same items, but the landscape plan specifically shows you the landscape and also has the landscape table, which tells you, the type of species, the quantity, that kind of
The
thing.
landscape plan, you mean specifically to show plantings and trees and that kind of thing?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
All right, floor plans, elevations, we know that. Street facade drawing is an elevation, no?
Yeah.
It could be.
Well, it is.
It could be an elevation, but street facade drawing is to give a little more perspective. So, like, for example, if somebody's coming in and they're building a house, what it would show is the house to the left, the subject property, and the house to the right. So
That's
that you can get perspective in terms of scale.
I see. So you mean a street facade drawing showing the context?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Okay. All right. That was some of these things I'm pointing out just because if they're not clear to us, maybe they aren't clear to others too.
Well, I was gonna show you all this as well, and I mean, since you brought it up, I'll bring it up too. So basically, where are we? Give me a second. So ultimately, we'll get into having instructions that go along with this. So for every item that's listed, the instructions here specify exactly what the board is looking for and means for each one of those items.
Mhm.
So for street facade drawing, this would be the street facade drawing. House to the left, subject property, house to the right.
Mhm.
Excuse me. Drawing, are you
Yes.
saying that what I find difficult is to have a drawing of the neighbor's house versus a photograph? Why not a photograph?
It could be a photograph. It could be,
Okay.
but again, it just tells you what it gives you a definition in the.
Yeah.
Am I showing you?
Sure.
Can you see it?
No,
No, but I
No,
mean,
you can't see it. I'm sorry. Let me I'm
We're
sorry.
just,
I'm sorry.
we're
you
just
can't
still
hear.
seeing the list.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
we're not seeing anything.
Got it. All right. So these are the instructions. Start at the top. So these would be the instructions. So for each one of the items on the list, the instructions indicate what's required or what that means or what should be submitted as a part of that particular item. So, for example, when you get to the street facade drawing, what it would be is the house to the left, subject property, house to the right. It can be a picture, it can be photoshopped, so forth, but it gives the board some scale and perspective, especially for a new construction.
Okay, well, that'll be covered presumably in the instructions. I suppose
Absolutely.
too, some of these things may be optional, you know, if the context may or may not provide for them, you know, like
Right.
you may not need a rendering for, some small addition or something like that.
Fair enough. So what's that? So again, any of these items, in the event that an applicant feels that it's not necessary for them to provide it, that's why in the far right, there's a statement of non-provision. An applicant can write a simple statement. For example, if an applicant is providing a sign, they may feel that a zoning table is not necessary. They can write a statement. Did not provide the zoning table because we're providing a sign. The signage is compliant with the zoning code. Something that simple.
Okay.
Now, what happens is if staff agrees with them, so be it. The application moves forward. If staff disagrees, then the applicant then has the option to bring that item to the board, and then the board makes the determination as to whether or not the item is needed or not.
Okay.
All right.
I would note on the something that I think we would all appreciate having is you have floor plans and elevations. I think we need to make sure that we get before and after floor plans and elevations so that we can understand what's happening.
Yeah, that's important. Yeah.
All right. Give me a second. I just want to make
Yeah,
a note
because
of that.
sometimes, yeah, they don't provide it. Yeah.
If you look at the ones today, they had before and after, they had existing and then they had proposed, and you really need that. If you only have the proposed,
Mhm.
you
Yeah,
can't tell what they're changing, you know?
right. Right.
Okay. Okay. So that's essentially where this is going. The only other thing I'll show you, because the Architectural Review Board can span the gamut in terms of types of applications. Not everything is required for every type of item. So, for example, if somebody comes in with them, still playing around with this, but you'll get the sense of it. If somebody comes in with a new structure, obviously they would need just about everything on the checklist that we just went through.
Mhm.
But I'll give you an example. Somebody that's coming in, for example, a new facade. Then obviously if it's just a facade, they may not have a landscape plan to go with it, that kind of thing. So this kind of breaks it down even further to give people a little more fluidity in terms of what they need to submit, so forth.
Okay. Just think about it, and I have not thought about it, and maybe it's fine as it is, but think about it too in terms of solar panels, if there's anything we might need with regard to solar panels that we kind of wouldn't need for these other things.
Yes, fair enough. And solar panels, I have them listed. They have their own section. It's just a matter of going through and figuring out what makes sense and what doesn't. So
Okay.
this is sort of where I'm going. And
All right. Well, looks good. All right.
fair enough.
William, I just gotta say, if that's like a first draft, that's really impressive.
Thank you.
Yeah. I'm going to say you got too much free time.
Yeah. I wasn't gonna go there, though. No.
So with that being the case,
He
I
probably
do
works
have
11
to-
hours a day.
Yeah.
12 hours a day.
yeah, I put in some time, definitely. But again, with that, so I have a couple of questions. In terms of your rules and procedures, I was sort of thinking about breaking it into two categories, because things
Rules
that
and
are
procedures.
exempt, huh? Sorry?
Rules and procedures. I'm kidding.
Things that are exempt from board review and things that require board review. So I just want to see if you all agree. somebody comes in and they want to a coping, cornices, you want to see porches, decks, staircase, ramps, railings, freestanding or retaining walls, mechanical equipment, exterior lighting, vents. Somebody comes in with the chimney, do they need to come before your board? Shutters, leaders, gutters. Those are the kind of things that I'm thinking about in terms of things that should be exempt. Because right now, the way that things happen is these items, from my understanding, and Barbara, you can chime in, they don't necessarily make their way to the board. And if that's the case, all we're doing is writing out what that policy is.
Well, I think there is.
So it's just something to think about. So
Barbara probably knows it better than me, but I think there is a policy. It's what, $10,000?
Right, 10,000
Gotta
exterior.
be more than
but
$10,000.
We've never had a fence or a retaining wall come on their own. It might be part of a bigger project, but they don't come individually.
Yeah.
Right.
And things like if you repaint your house, it might cost $12,000 or $20,000.
Well, you don't even need a building permit to paint your house. So
Yeah,
you don't
exactly.
need-
That's what I'm saying. If it doesn't
So-
need a building permit, it wouldn't, we wouldn't be looking at it, basically.
Right.
right,
Are,
right.
Mhm.
Are large exterior stairs? I mean, I don't know how often that's happened where someone's changed a single family home into a two-family home. Or
That's
it's hard to deny a ADA stair ramp, but you could have a
Well-
big ADA, you could have a big ramp, right?
Well, we have had that, Bill,
Yeah.
across from your house. I feel like that home changed its ramp and
Well,
staircase
that's because
many
the
times.
fellow that needed it passed away, and then the
Right.
widow sold the house. You know.
But we don't approve things like that. I've never seen that.
Right.
I can't remember if we have or not.
I mean, you can't really deny it a
No.
ramp,
You
right?
could, you could
No.
ask for it to change a little, I suppose, but yeah, if
Well,
it-
even if you think about terraces that are going in the front and redoing driveways and terraces and that sort of thing, I feel like there's something going on again, Bill, in front of your former home. I never see things like that coming before.
Yeah, they're
us.
doing they're doing a fairly large renovation, mostly of the interior, but they did do they replaced a lot of stuff on the exterior. They replaced the roof, they replaced the siding,
And terracing, right?
all kinds of stuff, but there is not, certainly they needed a building permit. That did not come before us. I'm not sure why. I don't know, maybe
Well-
Barbara knows why, but somebody decided it didn't need to come before us.
Well, roofs on their own never come before you.
Yeah.
Right.
And siding, you don't even need a building permit for. So that doesn't come before you.
Well, they needed a building permit for sure because they're also redoing the whole interior of the house. So they had a building permit. So this falls into the category part of a larger something else. Interior renovation we wouldn't see because it's only on the interior. So it's the interior renovation, new roof. It's basically a large renovation, but I don't know why it would or would not come before us. I guess each thing individually, like we don't need to see the roof. The siding wouldn't come before us. Painting it wouldn't come before us. The driveway wouldn't come before us. Redoing the garage siding wouldn't come before us. So those are all things they did. Redoing the chimney, none of those things would individually come before us. And then gutting and redoing the whole interior wouldn't come before us. So, but the whole thing in the aggregate, you start to wonder, I suppose. But
Right, when there's a lot. And then, you think about driveways, they can really make or break the way a home looks. And they're right in front.
Well, that's ours. Ours
my
is not
call.
the reason why, I suppose.
Yeah.
Yeah, hi, this is Dennis Trogan, the Assistant Building Inspector.
Yeah.
So I've had multiple questions about siding and, going in front of BAR. maybe addressing anything that is facing the curb, the frontage of the house, should go to BAR. So we have a lot of cases where, siding is not permitted as of right now, but the change of siding from one to another, from clapboard to cedar shakes, is a big change. So perhaps moving that to something that would go in front of BAR may be a direction to go in.
Yeah. Now, I will say on the house that Cindy was referring to, I would possibly put that more in the category of a repair. I mean, they replaced the siding, but they replaced it with the same stuff that was there before. White painted clapboard, so it was white painted clapboard and it's still white painted clapboard. I haven't gone up to see if they changed it from wood to hardy board or something, but it looks the same. So I don't know, it's a gray area.
Yeah, I mean, that should come down.
Yeah.
So with going back to the siding, so if it's not changed within kind, or if it's over that $10,000, would the board consider lowering that $10,000 threshold? Or as long as it's within kind, the siding, it would not go in front of board?
Well, I guess it gets to be a judgment call on you all, right? If it's within kind. As to the money, I would think a building permit is an appropriate trigger. I don't know. What does everybody else think?
Well, Dennis, you don't even need a building permit just for siding.
That's what he said that.
Yeah, so yeah, there's no permit for siding, but if siding was to come up as a building permit, as a simple application fee, so it would go in front of BAR. That may be a window, to proceed to BAR. There's lots of properties that are currently changing, and we don't have control over that processes that's being done. And the color and the change and the aspect of the neighbor next door. So I have not heard of a dispute yet between neighbors for siding, but there's been cedar shakes to clapboard, which changes the total look of the structure.
That's true. That's true.
Yeah. Roofing from slate to architectural, that's a large change as well. So unless there's we go back to having a historic board or a historic review of certain neighborhoods, that would be okay in that neighborhood to keep wood slate in kind. But for the architecture review board, not to address the changing of siding within kind, that may be a problem down the line.
Yeah. Yeah, it's also interesting that, you can obviously paint your house any color you want. You don't need a building permit. You don't go before any board. But, there's you read all the time. I can't say as we've seen it, but you read all the time about disputes. So some neighbor decides to paint their house, Florida pink, and everybody else in the neighborhood is very upset. And, you wonder if there should be some kind of weighing in on that, or on the other hand, it's your house. Should you be allowed to paint it pink? I don't know.
Well, it's right. The rationale for being upset about it would be either that I don't like to look at it, or I think it's reducing the value of my house.
Yeah.
And I think you'd really have to bring proof of the latter, right? To say that there's any legitimate complaint other than one's taste against another.
Well, yes, Andrew, but that's kind of what we do all the time. If we are objecting to something, we're feeling that it's to the detriment of the neighborhood. So, that's, what's the proof?
But that's true. So why wouldn't a paint job come before then, really?
Well,
you're getting...
taking the painting to another level. For instance, in the flats, there's a couple buildings that have artwork on them. If that artwork was to move direction and go to your neighbor's house, that I'm not going in that direction with it, but in keeping with kind in certain neighborhoods, perhaps it should be something that's looked at. But the siding could go completely sideways quickly.
Yeah.
So I think moving that towards the architecture review board would be an idea if it was adopted. I think it would work out very well for the building department and you guys as well.
Yeah, something along the lines of a major change in the street appearance of the house maybe should be looked at, whether whatever causes it. But I don't know how you capture it, since, as Barbara points out, you don't always need a building permit. I don't know. You may not ever know. Somebody hires a contractor, it's less than $10,000. They don't need a building permit,
Yep.
So
Cousin Freddie.
So moving forward, so like brick to stucco, if that was to occur, and stone walls in front of homes. So if somebody wanted to obstruct a non-retaining 3-foot wall on a corner property and go up 4 feet along his neighbors, what's your opinion on that?
Well, take it to an extreme. Somebody is a fanatic about some cause or another and decides to protect himself. He has to put up a chain link fence with ribbon wire across the top of it. I mean, we don't approve fences. I mean, does that deter from the value of the neighborhood? Almost certainly. But, I don't know how you deal with these things, in context here.
So that would be our hold on it. So, when a fence goes up, if they wanted to put ribbon in, that's fine. We're not stopping them from doing that. That's a preference.
Well, ribbon wire is barbed wire.
Well, so ribbon wire to me is the streamers that go in between. That's what we call ribbon.
Ribbon wire is that stuff they put on the top of
In prison.
Prison.
It's round, circular looking. It's like
Yeah.
barbed wire. But it's not like barbed wire. It's like continuous
Yes.
edges.
It's electrified often.
Yeah, yeah. That's what I was referring to anyway. And that's different than the decorative ribbon.
Yeah, I think what Dennis is getting at is, and I think we can cover this with language inside the rules and procedures. Something to the effect that if the building department determines that, it's causing a change in the character and it's over $10,000, then so be it. It must come to the board, and leave that to the discretion of the building inspector.
And I think that is your best bet, to allow some human decision making. Hey, this is a big change. I really think somebody ought to look at it.
Mm-hmm.
Got it. Right. Thank you. Yes. Cool. Okay. Other than that, I think I have some direction. I think I haven't heard any complaints, so I guess I'm on the right moving in the right direction.
No, I think we all appreciate you trying to make it a little bit clearer and more organized, and happy that you're willing to put that effort in.
Fair enough. So I'll take this back and keep making some modifications, and I'll send you some additional material for your next meeting.
Okay.
Okay.
Oh, and by the way, we're only meeting once in October.
Yeah, I noticed that.
The meetings fall 9 days apart, so we're just doing the Thursday, which I think is the 15th.
Okay, yeah.
So
The next meeting
by
is
the month.
when?
I think it's the 15th. It's whatever the
October.
third Thursday in October
Yes.
is. So no
Okay.
first Tuesday in October.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thanks for that
So I'll put it
reminder.
in now.
At the same meeting, I think we are starting at 7, right?
Oh, we are? I missed that.
So did I.
Isn't that correct, Will? Didn't you set that up?
You know what? It's
Or
probably
after a work session?
Yeah, I have it here.
So I'll tell you what it is that for each meeting, I put it in at 7 o'clock, just in case you want to have a work session 30 minutes before your meeting, but your meeting still starts at 7:30, okay?
Yeah, right. But it says here, that's why. The board for digital review will host its next work session on Thursday, October 15 at 7.
Yeah, that's the work session, and then the regular meeting would start at 7:30.
All right, but is there going to be a work session? That's my question. Or this is just tentative?
Are we reporting in at 7? That's the question.
We have to see what's on the agenda.
Okay,
That's up to you as a board. If you feel you
Okay.
need it, so be it. If not, we'll start at 7:30.
okay.
So just a heads up, depending on Christine, I think most of you know my wife's a police officer. She works 4 to 12, so 4 p.m. to midnight. When we have meetings that do that, my ability to join at 7 is much trickier. So I will try my best, but it will not always be possible. And that October 15th meeting, she is working 4 to 12. So I may not be there exactly at 7 if that's what happens.
Okay.
You can get there at 7:30 though?
Yeah, 7:30 is no problem. Just getting all 3 kids down by 7 is
I
much
think that
trickier.
Will is saying that the meeting itself would start at 7:30, but if we had a work session, you might miss that, I guess.
I
Right.
can probably do 7:15, but we'll see what happens.
Okay.
Okay.
enough.
Fair enough.
And I didn't know she was a police officer. Can she help us if we get parking tickets?
You don't get parking tickets. You follow all the laws.
My wife
Everybody
gets parking
does.
tickets.
All right, Mr. Chair, so that concludes all business.
Okay.
Okay.
All right, well, thank you
Very
all.
good.
Okay, if there be no further business before the
Here's-
board, can I get
Here's a post-virtual drink.
Yeah.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Okay, but I still need a motion to adjourn.
Oh,
I motion.
motion.
Okay, somebody second it, please.
Second.
Any opposed? Okay,
No.
have a good night, everyone.
Okay.
Good night, everyone.
Bye, too.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
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 Bye.
Bye.
Everybody's still here.
I know, I can't
Go
find
home.
my
Go.
leave button again.
Change it to small and then you will find the leave button.
No.